Well, guys, there's the route, approximately planned out for us. So, starting in Fort William, we'd be going that little ferry across again, just across Loch Linnhe, working our way down this kind of single track road on the south side of the loch. We have to join the main road for a good section to get out to Mallaig, but I don't think it's a massively busy road. I don't recall it being that way. I've motorcycled it a couple of times. Just at the end, we have a few options to kind of come off the road as we approach Mallaig, and of course it's the long ferry crossing then. Mid-afternoon to early evening that gets us across basically into the Outer Hebrides here, and then this route coming up is pretty well flat all of the way. Our camping pods are somewhere around here, the tractor pods or tractor farm, whatever it was called, somewhere around here. David, I think, has then got us an afternoon ferry from here across, and again it's another relatively short evening ride again back into Tarbert, which I think is here. So that's another, well, that's the backpackers, that's 4 of us staying together in a 6-bunk room, so we can fight over who's going to be the one who goes on top. Not me. I don't do top bunks. Anyway, this is the hilly bit as we come along Harris, across the top, find our way across to Stornoway, again, stay the night. Now, David, I can't remember what times the ferries were that you sent. Oh no, I can. 7 AM ferry from here, so early start, all the way back across into Ullapool. Alan, you'll remember our cold ride down out of the Dundonald Forest to get to Ullapool when we did the North Coast 500. But this road is flat to start off with, relatively flat along the side of the loch. This section here is a climb up onto the top. I seem to recall this area here is nice. I loved it, motorcycling along this road. I think it's a beautiful stretch of road. But the problem with motorcycles is they flatten hills like you wouldn't believe. So I can't recall just how hilly it was. Anyway, we work our way down ultimately into Bewley, wherever I've lost Bewley somewhere. I think it's round here somewhere. I think Bewley's somewhere here. Now we can then take a road, so I think we can see all these green dots is obviously where people have taken lots and lots and lots of photos. So it's our choice. This will be the, David might confirm, what is it, the Highland Way. So we can either somehow divert onto that if we wish, or we just take the road and we pick it up somewhere here, around where the castle is, the famous castle on Loch Ness. And then, so it keeps us off this A82 road for the whole way. We're basically paralleling the A82, but again, David, you might tell us about what the road or the surface is like for cycling and the rest of it. A little bit of A82, then we back up on the Great Glen Way, not the Highland Way as I said before, Great Glen Way, all the way down into Fort Augustus. And at this point is where we break off and take the route suggested by Alan to bring us across the Coryarrick Pass. Some pretty steep, gnarly sections on that. But effectively, this brings us across into where it was somewhere here, Newton Moor. Okay, so I've got us booked in now at Newton Moor. So all we've got to do is decide if we're doing it, then I cancel the accommodation that we've got booked in Fort William. Now from Newton Moor we continue across to Kingussie. It's a ride out of Kingussie, backtracking some of the path we did before. I think this bridge here, so that bridge is where we stopped and watched the guy swimming in the water and the waterfall and such things. Dromey Bridge, but instead of going, so this would have been the route we did coming down from Aviemore last time, but now we're going to take a right, and this is the route that David suggested we do, which again parallels the river all the way up. It looks like it's a decent track until we get to, so we're basically going down a river valley here. But I think on this lock here, or in this kind of area, we're kind of getting into proper single track, or this lock. It's somewhere around this area where we're now, as you see, the kind of, it's single tracky kind of stuff. We come down, it's proper single tracky. But I'm sure there was a bit that I found somewhere. There was like a crossing we had to do. There you go. It really is proper single track along the side of the lock. So rideable, but difficult, I would say. So that's going to be the hard area. But somewhere around, oh, look at that. If I just, there we go. I think David, oh no, I don't know, David, if you've done this section before, but again, you can see the kind of surface that we're kind of aiming towards. But I think once we're, past that section again, it's back into double track and foresty kind of road. So I think that'd be a really good detour as well. And in fact, I've even, instead of continuing, so we could continue round to the right here and follow the route 7, as we've done many times before, to bring us down into Pitlochry. Or, again, depending on time and what the weather's like and stuff, we could maybe do this detour here. So again, good road surface, looking at the photos, really into the hills. Maybe not that one. The good thing I like about Komoot is it's smothered with photos in places, and as a result you can spot the off-road routes because everybody's taking bloody photos there. Bring us back down to this lock tunnel along here, side of the lock, and bring us that way into Pitlochry. Now from that point onwards I really haven't planned anything. I've just let Komoot decide what route it thinks it wants to send us on. So again, forested paths, it's keeping us maybe totally away from the A9, so there's no risk of running. Although we've done this section, I think. We've been in this section before, because I think it's here. Let's have a look. No, yeah, Aberfeldy. So we've done that section before. Then if you remember, there was an old cycle viaduct here that we took across the River Tay. But again, now this is taking us, again, keeping us off the A9, but it's got us again down some back roads to see if there's any photos to show. No. But basically, we're paralleling the A9 here. There is a B road here by the looks of it we could take. Yeah, so we could take the B road as well. So again, we can decide all this stuff nearer the time. So the next stop I'm proposing we do after Pitlochry would be to come down to Perth. Have another overnight stop in Perth. So Pitlochry and Perth still need to book. And then again, I've just let Komoot find a route down. You see all these little green dots on the screen where photographs have been taken, and you can almost string together where the cycle rides are for where the green dots are, as people have gone off road in in various places, in Scotland. Anyway, and then allowed this to bring us down over the Forth Bridge, the old Forth Bridge, which I think is used for cycling now, and down into Edinburgh. So, and again as we go forward, so I think that's about the night of the 3rd of June, so I have to find accommodation there. Then Brad, we can either, well Alan, you can get your train back home whichever way you want to go. Brad, we could get a train home from here, or we could continue in do almost like a coast to coast here, so set off from Edinburgh and come in this kind of southerly direction, finding our way down, ultimately, if I zoom out a bit, because I've gone bad, following the route of the River Tweed, bringing ourselves down to Moffat, and then the route I know very well now, down to Carlisle. So effectively it's a coast to coast. And then from Carlisle, come down to, well, there's a route here that's possible which goes via Tan Hill Inn. So that's over the top of the Northern Pennines here, which is one way across, and that brings us out into kind of Ripon area. Or we continue down to Kendal, and further down Lancaster, and come down towards have I gone past it? No, that's Preston there, isn't it? It's Preston. And then have a go at picking up again the Leeds-Liverpool Canal, which I know is quite rideable, to bring us across ultimately to Keighley, Five Rive Locks, and Bingley, where John and Fiona live, and then from there follow the route into Leeds and then back home to York. Anyway, so it's all ready with what I've got planned out. 530 miles, 24,000 foot of ascent. So that's planned to be done in about 9 days. So we're around about 2,500 foot a day. And that gets us into Edinburgh. Expert bike ride, it says. Very good fitness required. You may need to push your bike for some segments of this route. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I kind of know that. So, bunch of ferries, steep hills, wade types, single track path, 38 miles of path. We've got access road, cycleway, street roads, so these ones are all okay. Single track and path is kind of it's a lot of miles on potentially rough stuff. Unpaved 43 miles. Gravel, cobblestones, paved. So we get an idea over the 9-10 days, around about 5 miles of it is unpaved per day on average. And we get up to 2,500 foot. Now, Alan, you remember when we did the North Coast 500, which is also in May. You remember the snow was still falling on the tops and we almost froze our bits off. So I think we've got to do is to make sure that we're prepared for potentially bad weather when we're going across the Corryvreckan Pass, is it? That's the high point, 2,500. And the problem is, for accommodation wise, we have to get across that pass. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. I thought I'd do that. Maybe we'll have a conference call together just to talk through things and share screens and make sure we're all happy with everything. Thanks, David, for getting up early today and looking after ferry bookings. Alan, I guess you're going to look after your railway ticket for what you need to do. If you're going to get the sleeper or not, but let's aim for, I think it's the 3rd of June to be in Edinburgh, and that would be either the night of the 3rd of June that you'd be picking up the sleeper, or the day of the 4th of June to pick up a normal day train back home from Edinburgh. Yeah, let's get ourselves together and just have a chat and make sure everything's coming back together. Oh, Brad, I think if I can leave with you to do the railway bookings for me and you, please, and we'll talk more about that. And then, of course, I'll just, for whatever spend everybody's done, I'll credit accordingly, so like we did last time, and I think that worked out okay. Well, anyway, before I finish this video, I just wanted to talk a bit about actually having to book ahead. Now, a couple of things you find in Scotland is the amount of accommodation in comparison to the rest of the country is much less. And it tends to be, if you don't get in early doors, only the expensive stuff is left. So with accommodation, I would suggest book as far ahead as you can, as soon as you know you're doing something, at least at the start of the year. And the other thing to watch out for is the trains, and especially if you're taking bikes up on a train. The number of positions, if you're going up through England up to into ScotRail country, tends to be quite limited on main lines, 2, maybe 4 maximum per train journey. And if you don't book as soon as those are made available, you're going to potentially miss getting a bike spot. ScotRail tend to be, just turn up with your bike and go. And David tells me that this year a number of the trains going up to the Highlands are running additional coaches, so there's more bike spaces. But book as soon as you can. That's the only thing I'd recommend. Otherwise, you're going to find it difficult, especially if you're a northerner like me in Yorkshire, or southern softies like London Alan. You're going to find it pretty difficult to get up there without taking a long car drive. Anyway, that's enough warning for your upcoming adventures.